An armed society is a polite society, and an unarmed society is a bunch of sitting ducks, especially if places like New York, Chicago, and half of California have showed us in the US, as we're seeing with Haiti and the weird cannibal gang thing going on, and now apparently Toronto, where police officials are handing out doorstops to try and reduce break-ins and telling residents to just roll over and basically give their cars away to thieves. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Just would like to bring your attention to my little Gundy's trophy and Gundy's ammo box I got back there now. Thank you again to everyone who voted. Very cool. Anyways, news reports out of our northern neighbors say that crime is up in Canada since 2020, just as it has been in the US. Car thefts, which is what the Toronto cops are currently focusing on, have more than doubled from 5,000 in 2019 to over 12,000 last year, just in the one city. And B&Es for auto thefts rose 400% in 2023. And now in some high-risk neighborhoods, police have gone door to door handing out special doorstops for people to install on their doors and theft prevention pamphlets with some interesting advice. Now, some of that advice does make sense. Some of it is like, hey, don't let your bushes get overgrown to cover your windows. Perfectly reasonable. Don't post on social media that you're going on vacation and won't be home for however many days. They also recommend people start keeping their key fobs and Faraday pouches so it's harder for the bad guys to hack into them. There is legitimacy to that. Some of it is a little more interesting and was recently echoed at a community press conference.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door. Because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, keep your keys conveniently near the door in hopes that when the bad guys break in with guns, they'll just take your keys and go without bothering you too much. And why is this advice important? Because
a lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
Yes. In a country that just recently put a freeze on handguns, which the country's government says isn't a ban, it's just an indefinite freeze on selling, buying, or transferring guns for the foreseeable future. You're still allowed to own what you already had prior to October 2022, so long as it is registered with the Crown. So, not a ban. But somehow, says the police, these thieves have guns and are even willing to use them on innocent people in order to commit crime. Mind blown! Clearly, these people did not read the full text of the Royal Decree or Bill C-21. Maybe they just can't read. You know what? That has to be it. All of Canada's criminals are illiterate. Of course. Now, before we get into the rest of Canada's terrible advice, because trust me, there's more, here is a word from today's sponsor, because it's not just physical things that can be stolen. As you can imagine, being a mom with my face plastered on the internet, I like to try to keep my personal information as private as possible. But with the rise in social media and internet use, every time we go online, we become the product. There are companies out there called data brokers whose entire purpose is to collect huge amounts of personally identifiable information from government records and social media, and then sell that information to the highest bidder, and that bidder likely does not have your best interest in mind. Delete Me works to remove your personal information from hundreds of data brokers and websites, and they continually search and delete that information if and when it pops up in new places. And trust me, it will pop up in new places. Once they find your data, they work to remove it as fast as possible, sometimes in as little as 48 hours. Every 60 days, they run another scan and give you a full report of every website searched, every site that had your information, what information the site had, and every site they're removing it from. And now, to help me bring you guys the same peace of mind, Delete Me is offering my viewers 20% off of their consumer plan using code LibertyDoll at my link joindeleteme.com/LibertyDoll. So check them out today to get control of your information. Now back to the story. Seriously, with Canada's advice, I don't understand why they aren't just flat out telling people to leave their keys in their car so thieves don't even have to bother going in the house. I mean, then they would not have to use the tax money for the doorstops. The cops say that the burglars don't want to steal anything else until they do. If residents and police are going to make it this easy to steal cars, how long before they're told to leave their wallets and any other valuables by the door? The advice was met by some pretty big backlash, a lot of it from Americans on X, which made the Toronto police craft up a second press release admitting that there are other ways to try and prevent car theft, but their primary concern is stopping the violence that could happen when burglars and home invaders are armed, again with guns. Another police department is contradicting that advice, but say that they're working with automakers and insurance companies to try and combat crime. And residents are asking for more police patrols, and instead they're told to install doorstops and leave your keys by the door, and that don't worry, we've got it covered by working with car makers. That'll do the trick. Other police departments, this is even better, like the police in Quebec, have told residents not to share videos of people stealing stuff off their porches or stealing their cars because it violates the thieves' privacy. The police also said that Canada, like the US, says that people are innocent until proven guilty. And the video of someone stealing your property off of your porch or out of your driveway is somehow not evidence or proof of them actually stealing it. It, for some reason, does not become evidence or proof until given to the police. Otherwise, people posting the footage or videos on social media or giving it to local news or whoever could be hit with defamation charges and be hit with additional civil or criminal penalties for violating the criminal's privacy. Oddly enough, the one place this doesn't apply in Canada is self-defense. They don't have anything even remotely close to stand your ground or castle doctrine, and if you don't have witnesses that can vouch that you had no choice but to use force, you're pretty much guaranteed to be found guilty on criminal charges, even if you so much as slap your attacker. Anything that can cause bodily harm to the person attacking you or stealing your stuff is considered assault. But don't you dare put a video of a masked thief anywhere on social media. You're the bad guy. Overall, it's giving people both in and out of Canada the impression that the government cares more about criminals than it does about their law-abiding citizens, and I could see why they'd think that. All of this isn't really all that surprising, as we've seen the give the criminals what they want advice here in the US. We've heard it in California, I've personally heard it in Massachusetts, and we hear it from gun control groups all the time. Just comply so you don't die is the general advice for all manner of crimes running the gamut from theft to sexual assault, or you can try peeing or vomiting to save yourself, but they can never come up with an answer when the bad guys are intent on murder. Usually the best they can come up with is call the police and wait for them to show up, which the cops did wonderfully in Uvalde, and I'm sure will also be doing well in the growing number of cities that have decided the cops won't be responding to any non-emergency calls or won't even be on shift for certain hours overnight, like my recent video on Pittsburgh. But in what is basically a countrywide gun-free zone, the best advice the government has is to leave on your lights until they decide that uses up too much electricity for their green initiatives, try to buy a house with a garage to hide your car in, give up your keys, and install the special government-approved doorstop. It's too bad for the people of Canada that all of these promises about banning guns to stop crime turned out to be the complete opposite of reality. All right, ladies and gents, that is it for this video. You guys know the drill. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you are new here, ring that notification bell. Admire the Gundy in the back. Again, thank you so much for voting for me and making this happen. Super cool. Leave a comment down below for the algorithm. And as always, Thanks for tuning in, and happy shooting. Unless you're defending yourself in Canada, in which case, good luck.